The hurricane is already causing some new FUD articles coming out about some of our favorite industries. If you have war fears, Tom Lee has some advice for you. We're going to look at the fear and greed, and then we're going to check out some Bitcoin as well as some Bitcoin miners. But before we get going, smash that like button, subscribe if you've been with us for a while and haven't done so yet. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description as well as the channel bio. We've got some wonderful products for you to check out here, and let's get going. So first of all, devastation from Hurricane Helen could bring semiconductor chip making to a halt. What a headline. What a headline. That came out yesterday afternoon, coming from CNN. And why is this the case? How is this causing some issues? Now, they're saying now this is something about North Carolina. There's some town in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It doesn't really say the name of the town. It does not say the name of the town. At least I'm not looking that much into it. But so here's the thing. So they are talking about how there is the CORZ Corp, and they are a mining facility in North Carolina. They mine quartz. Okay, and this is saying that, let's see, where is it at? Let's see, there are 2 mines that produce the world's purest quartz, and this is a key component to the global supply chain for semiconductor chips, and they're saying that this is going to cause issues with the semiconductor industry. This honestly reads like FUD. I'm not too concerned about this specifically. So we're going to see some articles like this coming out of the disaster news agencies are going to take this as an opportunity to try to separate you from your money. I'm not really I don't really care about this news, not about the hurricane. That's horrible, but not about the news. It's all just FUD as far as I'm concerned. If you look at NVIDIA, it's kind of just been going up, not really caring so much about things like this going on. But this is the kind of news that's coming out right now, trying to get you to sell things or get you scared. Anyways, and if you're concerned about the war in the Middle East right now that's coming through, or at least the potential of it, Tom Lee has some advice for you. Let's go ahead and listen to Tom Lee.
Beginning of each.
That's right. In fact, if we look at the last 6 sort of global wars or tensions, you almost always buy the invasion. The exception was 2022 with the Russia-Ukraine war, because we were also in the midst of a Fed tightening cycle. So that was not a buy the invasion event. But the other times you did want to buy.
Both Iraq wars.
Yep, both Iraq and.
Was the market, where was the market before that happened?
All right. Anyways, you heard it from him directly. You want to buy the invasion. You want to buy the beginning of a war, because you will usually see a dip in the price of equities, which will then soon rally after. And we've mentioned that on this channel before several times. It's just nothing to be concerned about in terms of the market. There's plenty to be concerned about, but in terms of your portfolio, it's going to be short-lived. Okay, fear and greed. I want to talk about fear and greed for a second as well here. So we are back into fear territory for Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin's hanging out at $60,000, still just hugging that 200-day moving average. We'll look at that here in a second, but we have dipped back into fear. Will we get to extreme fear? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Are we going to get to extreme fear? Are we going to get to extreme buy here in a few days? Possibly. I think that we may see that dip, that October turn into Uptober later on in the month here. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I am personally looking for. Now, if we go to the fear and greed index for the stock market, that's actually still in greed, which makes sense because the stock market's been making new highs like basically every single day here. All right, let's move on to some charts. All right, Bitcoin has been just hugging this 200-day moving average for a while here. There's 3 days of it just touching it, holding right on to it. Now, is this going to be a continuation, or is the 200-day going to hold? I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that the fast-moving momentum oscillator here, the blue one, the fast-moving one's starting to curl. That's a good sign. If that yellow one goes sideways and that purple one starts to go flat, while the orange one continues to point up, that is some good sign. That is a sign that this is just a leg on a further uptrend. So let's go ahead and hope for that. We're going to watch that closely here every single day. I'm going to be looking at this. So let's see. Let's look at the Bitcoin miners real quick. They're not doing so hot. Are there any standouts today? So, no, that's a warrant. Not really. WULF is up 2.75%, so that's a little exciting. CIFR's down 3.25%. That's not exciting. A little concerning. No, not terribly so, but yeah. Let's take a look. Let's look here at some of these. Okay, this is loading. All right, great. So we're still way below the 200-day moving average on CleanSpark. We are seeing that all the oscillators here for the momentum are at the bottom right now, but we also know that even if they do come up to the top, it might only be something like a move, let's see, like a 30% move, which sounds like a lot, but when 30% when we're this low is not a ton of money right now. We really want to see this thing get back above the 200-day moving average. That is going to be the mark that we are done with this downtrend. Let's see here. Yeah, CleanSpark is looking like I think it's going to work on this ugly inverted head and shoulders for a little while here, for a couple of more weeks. I do like today's candle coming through right now. It's looking like it could end up being an inverse head and shoulders. I mean, inverse head and shoulders. I already said that. An inverted hammer. Excuse me. It could be an inverted hammer at the bottom of the move, which could mean that if this starts to curl back up, that would be the bottom of the right shoulder. And that would be pretty exciting, I think. And we'll talk about that if it starts to come through. Oh, Bit Digital is moving up. It's up at 2%, 2% up today. Bit Digital is looking decently strong, actually. It came into the 21 and it's bouncing. That is a good sign. If we can get back up above 384 and back into the $4 range, that's going to be a really nice little move there. Now, as long as we don't break down and come back down and make a triple bottom, which honestly wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I'm actually pretty excited about these moves coming through on Bit Digital right now. I do like Bit Digital. I like how it's been holding up in price. I like how it's come into the 21-day moving average and bounced off of it. I like how it's above the 200-day moving average, unlike some of its peers. Bit Digital is honestly one of the stronger charts that I'm looking at right now for the miners that I personally hold. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms is also kind of just hanging out under the 200-day moving average. It is making a bit of a bear flag. I don't love these two candles here, how they're so small at the bottom of this move here. I don't like that. That's telling me that there's a little more downside potentially on Bitfarms, which I don't really understand why. They've been having some decent reports. They got a lot of the stuff behind them. I think they're going to need a news catalyst to send this thing back up and see it really do some moves. So I think we're going to need to see a news catalyst out of Bitfarms before we get a nice big move out of it. But that is looking like a bear flag the last 2 days of price action. In order to negate this, we need to get up and above $2. We need to get back above $2 and hold above $2 for Bitfarms to not look a little bit bearish. Now, of course, that's only short term. That's short term. Again, I think that will probably resolve itself in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll see these things back up to, at least in the terms of Bitfarms, we could be seeing this thing back up within $2.50, $3, $4 range pretty quickly as soon as the Q4 rally starts kicking off. And of course, none of this is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. It's just my thoughts when I look at these charts. Mara. I'm actually very excited about Mara down here. Now, again, this has a very similar, almost the exact same pattern as Bitfarms, okay? It does. But Mara, I'm looking for a potential swing here. So I'm waiting. Again, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for this to turn around and end up being an inverted head and shoulders. I've drawn it once many times. I'll draw it again. We got that left shoulder, followed by the head in early September, and we are forming the right shoulder right now. This could dip a little bit lower, potentially down to maybe even $14. But as soon as we come up, and as soon as we get above 1773, above the 200-day moving average, we have room all the way back up into the high 20s, potentially even low 30s on Mara. Mara is going to come screaming out of this at some point. Just watch it do it. I mean, we did the exact same thing back here too. So we did this back when it didn't go nearly as high, but February 2024, we came down, did a shoulder in early March, and then in mid-April, we did the head, and then we formed another shoulder here on in May, and then it kind of started grinding up, got flat, and then took off again. So hopefully it's not a move like that. Hopefully it's more explosive than that, but it was a very similar movement that did end up in a run that was kind of weak compared to the other one. Let's hope that's not the case that comes through this December. But I am looking at this potentially being an inverted head and shoulders on Mara. And same with RIOT. Same with Bitfarms. I'm looking at those things coming through. But there are some bear flags on these charts. Like this is really, the RIOT one is really looking like a bear flag right there. Those two candles, that is very indicative of a bear flag. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I would potentially look at this to come back down at least to $7, at least down to $7, maybe even down to like $6.70 on RIOT before it starts turning around for that. Let's take a look at IREN. IREN is doing a very similar thing, but their inverted head and shoulders is also an ascending channel, which may or may not be good. We'll see with that one. But IREN is also holding above the 200-day moving average right now, which is a good sign. Let's see, come in here. And this doesn't look like a bear flag. And why doesn't it look like a bear flag? Because it slants down. Bear flags tend to slant up, not down. So this one is kind of going at an angle towards the downside, which is not indicative of a bear flag and may actually see this thing bounce off the 200-day moving average and climb higher, which I'm actually pretty excited about because I have a pretty decent bag of IREN, and I'm actually thinking maybe I might add a little bit more of my IREN bag here in the next couple of days. Right now down here, this has all been accumulation. This has all been accumulation because I will not be surprised at all if sometime in the next 60 to 90 days we are trading back up here at $15, $16, maybe even $20 on IREN. So I have been accumulating ever since we got below $9. I have been accumulating IREN. And same with CleanSpark. I've been accumulating it under $10, even with some of that dilution that I complained about on previous videos. And I actually have an update on that I will go over in a later video that is showing that the dilution is already coming through and you can see it. And it's not huge, but it is present. So when the CEO came out on X saying that, in fact, this is not dilution, he was just absolutely full of it. It has already come through, and if you look at their SEC filings, you can see that the share count has already increased by a bit. So it's not like a crippling amount or anything, but it is dilution. So like stuff it if you think that dilution wasn't coming through when they announced that. It is coming through. They are still pushing dilution, but I still think that this stock could easily find its way back up into the mid-20s, regardless of that. Do I think it's going to get $100? Maybe not, but it could hit 30s, 40s without too much trouble. Let's take a look at CORZ real quick. CORZ's just been on fire. This this is good. All right, CORZ, this is a bull flag. It's a bull flag. It's on a bull flag. It's still going up. The oscillators are currently. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, let me look at this momentum oscillator right now with you. Go like this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see. Right, the blue is coming up. The yellow is curling over. The purple is curling over while the orange is still pointing up. That is what I want to see. CORZ is illustrating exactly what I want to see. Yes, this looks like a bull flag. And now, of course, we're going to probably struggle at $13. And once we're above $13, CORZ is just going to continue to fly. CORZ has been, it's been very impressive lately. And it continues to be impressive. Let's take a look at WULF. WULF is still forming this like pennant shape here, creating higher lows and about the same highs, not exactly the same highs, but close to the same highs while making higher and higher lows, like significantly higher lows, not significantly higher highs. So price is compressing. It is compressing for a big move. And now the only thing I don't like about that is that it is an ascending type of channel that it is forming this in. And I will want to see price get above and solidly stay above $5 before that my fears of that channel breaking to the downside are completely evaporated here for WULF. But aside from that, WULF is looking good. The oscillators here, the momentum is starting to curl over while the orange is still pointing up. This does look a little bit like a bear flag. I'm not going to lie. These two right here, this is looking like it could end up being a bear flag, just like on Mara, Bitfarms, and RIOT, and CleanSpark, to be honest. So that I don't love it, but we'll see. Sometimes those don't come to fruition. Sometimes they just scare you and then end up not being the case. All right, CIFR, last one of the day, CIFR. I don't like this. So we're getting price compression between the 200-day and the 21-day right there for 3 days. We've been getting that price compression. That is, again, indicative of a coming explosive move. The only thing I like about this is that the momentum, the slow-moving momentum is at the very bottom of the chart down here at 11. It's underneath 20. That's a good sign. So once these other three come down a bit, which could be just at the 21, and start to curl over, once these other three start to curl over and start dragging this orange one back up above 20, that's when I'd be looking at CIFR to potentially explode outward and upward. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.